Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Today we've got some malicious compliance stories and our first story of the day is by XC610. Don't start a meeting by ending the meeting. My work environment is less an environment and more so a conglomeration of duct tape, spit, and cussing. I managed, among many things, a set of rentals, accounts receivable, and customer database analysis. Essentially, our company's bust factor was far too low. Another important bit that I handled were various legal documents that the state requires meticulous processes to be followed and allows for a digital or physical paper trail. I opted for digital. Now, my boss kindly provided me a Pentium 4 dual-core computer that he found at the bargain warehouse for about $40. I had the most sophisticated workstation in the business for context. This wasn't quite enough for database management and analytical software to boot up, more or less process a dataset. So I called up our IT guy, who worked for the boss's friend's sister-in-law's business, 200 miles away. I go, "Hey Tim, I need to add my personal laptop to the company network. Can you make that happen?" They say, "Sure, I'll be down to that location in a week or two. Can it wait?" I said, "Sounds perfect, Tim." So Tim shows up. We get the boss to rubber stamp that this is all okay, and I have remote access to the servers and some annoying corporate mandated securities on my laptop, which, no big deal, they stay out of the way. The asterisk is the corporate is Tim's corporate. My boss doesn't know a computer from a VCR. We didn't have anything like a software policy either. I think some computers had Office 2007 installed, but that's clunky and makes data transfer complicated. It's the 2010s, there's no need for that. I do all of my work on a Google Drive account tied to my work email. This is great because I can hot swap my workstation to wherever the boss wants me today. Sometimes he likes to pretend I'm a secretary and throws me in his office. Sometimes he thinks I'm a technician and puts me at a station with no computer. Whatever, data is transient. Anyways, things have been tense recently. I moved almost all of my job to digital, and the boss thinks that means I don't work anymore. Obviously, an office monkey with no papers is an office monkey with not enough work. Now, he wasn't exactly wrong. I had been automating things and was doing the job of about 6 people. How can I do the job of 6 people without the boss knowing? Easy. He likes to manage by the seat of his pants. One day he fired a maintenance person and just rolled that job into the receptionist, driver, and technician jobs. One day he decided that the sales team could handle marketing. Surely buying a single $2,000 camera is cheaper than having a professional do shoots each week. Besides, Gorilla Handycam sales pitches are in vogue, it'll be great. Moving on, after 2 years of shuffling, I had accumulated a large amount of jobs, many of them tedious, and with the right tools, made by me at home on my personal laptop that happens to be able to connect to the network, a good 4-hour job can be completed with about 10 minutes of sorting and parsing data. So the time comes. We all know it's coming. One of the suits tipped me off that the particular suit whose payroll is wasted on chumps like me had propositioned the boss that a pair of receptionists can do the work I do for cheaper. Just hire some college kids, work them each 18 hours a week, it'll be grand. Knowing that, I backed up everything to my personal Google Drive account, but of course, did not delete anything from the company-owned one. Like I said, the state had a vested interest in these processes. And I knew in my heart of hearts that the company couldn't be trusted to maintain records. I didn't want to be on the hook for that in 6 years, so I kept a copy. I figured it would go smoothly. I'm called to the big office for a meeting. There's too many suits. My supervisor gives me some side eye. It's not a surprise. I carefully make sure to click log out of all locations on my Google account and tuck my laptop into my car before heading upstairs. The meeting starts with the boss saying, "Well, kiddo." Yes, he calls me kiddo. Since I'm not 60 years old, I'm obviously a child. "Well, kiddo, I'm sad to say that I was wrong. I shouldn't have hired you. You're fired." Well, that was blunt and rude. So I stand up, extend my hand across the table, and prepare to thank him for the last few years. "Not so fast. Sit down, we have things to discuss." What? I sit down for a moment in brief shock. The adrenaline starts to pump and my fingertips are cold. Boss begins to tell me all of the things they need from me. contacts, account statuses, explanation of discrepancies on AR accounts, documentation for state interests, all things that, as his competent employee, I could have printed and sitting on his desk in moments. I decide to comply with him, starting the meeting by saying I'm fired. Where I live, either of us can stop the employment situation for any reason. He had illegally fired me. I counter him, "Well, boss, I don't feel particularly comfortable accessing your network since I'm not an employee." He exploded. Think of Karen, a millionaire Karen with little brother syndrome who wants to be John Wayne but looks a bit too much like Smokey the Bear's fat cousin to get the role. His explosion was violent, spit everywhere. I'll save you the details of how he stalked me to my car and demanded the employees form a barrier. He called me a few times. They went to voicemail as I drove to a public Wi-Fi hotspot. I carefully removed my laptop from the network. I drove home, unpacked my work lunch. My phone hasn't stopped ringing. He probably had a receptionist being paid minimum wage to hit the redial button. Eventually, I answer a call from his cell phone. He makes some demands. I very flippantly offer to come in to work for him at 10 times my rate. He yells some more. An hour later, he's pounding on my door. I don't want to deal with that. I know he carries a loaded pistol in his car. Again, cowboy, emphasis on the boy. The cops escort him away and I email a copy of my security footage to the responding officer. He thanks me. The company doesn't flounder, of course. Boss man is a millionaire and has been very carefully losing tens of thousands of dollars a year while operating his business. He may have lost some more in the interim, but that's not my concern. My concern is collecting my unemployment. And wouldn't you know, I was fired a few days before fall college class selection begins. I decided to take a few master-level classes. I've had my BA for a while, might as well get some more school in on the boss's dime. Classes go well and I coast through spring semester by tapping into a bit of savings. And wouldn't you know it, the pandemic happens and my unemployment benefits are extended. Guess I'll take some summer classes. And those extended benefits were at 3 times the base unemployment rate? Gee whiz, guess I can take a full set of fall classes too. And then the state extended it for another 3 months at double the base? I have winter session sign-up date marked on my calendar. The boss man calls me this morning. I coyly thank him for firing me without cause a year ago and let him know I made the dean's list last semester. He tells me to freak off. He called to take me up on my deal. He'll hire me at 5 times my rate to give him some information. I remind him, wasn't the deal 10 times my rate?
Freak you, 5 times is too much and I only need you for an afternoon.
Well, I've been thinking about it. My unemployment benefits run out in a week or two, so I'll do it. I'll contract for you. I want 20 times what I was making, 40 hours minimum, paid in advance. Oh, and written scope of work. I'm only doing the work you say you need done during negotiations.
Freak you, I'll give you 5 times in a day of work and that's final.
No thanks, boss. I have to get back to those classes you're paying for. Thanks again. I hang up. He calls back an hour later, just moments before I started writing this actually. It's actually his daughter, the comptroller of the company. She says she spoke some reason to the boss. He'll hire me at 20 times my rate for 40 hours of work, half paid up front. Actually, it was 100% up front, not half. Fine. She starts telling me what she needs done. Turns out, they're failing a state audit quite badly. Like, boss is not a millionaire if this isn't fixed, kind of badly. They have all the information they need, of course. It's on my company email account's Google Drive. I'm not going to tell him this. Once he pays me for half a year's work, I'll gladly spend the hour or so of time it takes to transfer all of the data he needs to a flash drive, wait until Monday of next week, and then hand it to his receptionist. Really, the man couldn't have been nicer. He's already covered me going to college full-time for over a year and is about to cover another 2 semesters. I should buy him a cake. Obviously, this boss man did the order of operations pretty incorrectly. If you're going to let somebody go that was doing a lot of sensitive information type stuff, you'd probably want to make sure as coyly as possible that you get all of that information saved and out there, and then let them go. That said, if I was OP and I knew this millionaire cowboy type dude was always trying to get what he wanted out of me, I might have been a little concerned for my safety, but maybe that's over dramatic, I don't know. What do you guys think? If this happened to you and you were trying to hold this out against this millionaire cowboy type guy, would you be constantly looking back over your shoulder all the time and feeling a little concerned for your safety in the long run? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Board and Beard. Come right back to the office. Don't mind if I do. I was working at yet another soulless call center. Through years of bad ideas, alcohol, and generally getting punched in the face, I had a broken tooth that was no longer serviceable. I could no longer adhere that over-the-counter tooth cement to it, let it dry, and pretend I didn't notice. It hurt. My face was swollen, I'm pretty sure my breath was fetid. I was trying to move from slacker to adult, so I made an appointment to get it pulled. I was salary, regularly working weird schedules, but still gave heads up to the brand new shiny directory and HR goon and my supervisor that I was going in for an emergency tooth removal and would be gone for part of the day. My boss? No worries or concerns. He knew I would come in for whatever, whenever. The new director? Not so much. She didn't like me because somebody told her I wasn't nice and punched puppies or some other nonsense. You can go on your lunch to do whatever you want, but come right back to the office. That wasn't going to happen. She wasn't in my chain of command and I only told her out of a courtesy. My boss knew I was out, she could be mad. This all changed while I sat in that not too comfy chair, already stabbed in the gums a half dozen times to numb up. The nice front counter lady came in to tell me I didn't have dental insurance. I laughed, explained of course I did, and validated all of my information. She asked to speak to me alone. Apparently my company had charged me for my insurance, but never paid the insurance company. Even better, the company had done this for every employee on this plan for a while. F it, I have the cash, pay for the procedure right then. A little over an hour later, a small bit of beard missing from the clamps catching in it, stitches in my gums they had to cut, tooth gone, I'm ready to go back to work and ask some questions. After all, they wanted me to come right back, right? I don't even clean up. Blood down my swollen face, blood on my shirt, a little bruising on my face from an oh crap moment when part of the tooth broke more while extracting. I walk right into the nice HR person's office and hand him my receipt. I explain what happened. He calls the director in and starts making calls. Why are you looking like that? Go clean up. You said come right back. You're a health hazard. If I only had dental insurance, huh? Of course we have insurance. Why would you walk in here like that? You said come right back. This circular exchange lasted about 10 minutes. HR dude needed me to make copies of the receipts. I walked to the furthest possible printer, making sure enough people saw me. They asked what was up. I told everyone what was going on with the insurance. Emails started, calls started, people were very unimpressed. Get back to the HR office, he's ready to make sure I get reimbursed on the next check. Back pay for the insurance I've paid that I didn't have insurance for. He says, okay, well, go ahead and head out. You can use my door out. Don't tell anyone about what's going on. I say, too late. I've told at least 10 people. The director said, why would you do that? Well, you did tell me to come right back. We all got reimbursed, company put out a big apology memo, bought pizza because that's what call centers do, and HR guy did a lot of butt kissing. That call center is lucky they didn't have some legal action against them. Having to throw a pizza party and put out an apology memo being the worst things they had to do in that situation with the insurance, that is extremely, extremely light. They're very lucky. This next story is by Saqhmet. Not letting me unload my groceries? Fine. Enjoy the most uncomfortable 3 minutes of your life. I was starting to unload groceries at a supermarket from my basket to the rubber belt leading to the cashier. Guy comes behind me so close that they're almost touching me and puts his 3 items on the belt. I stop and say, excuse me politely, showing him with my hand that I am in the middle of something. Cashier also giving the guy a look of what are you doing? The guy says, you have enough space to do your thing. Okay, fair enough, I will use all the space. I turn 180 directly to him, now our faces are almost nose-rubbing distance, and I start unloading my things with 10 times slow motion, keeping my eyes fixed directly to his eyes directly, making myself as big as possible and moving towards him inch by inch. I'm a tall and big guy. He was not. He uncomfortably has to reach to the belt to avoid his things going to the cashier, while the belt rubs and screeches against the bottom of his things. Which, I have to give it to him, he held on to the end and did not take his stuff and back up. The face of agony when he tries to avoid my direct eye staring while I'm moving as slowly as I possibly can and trying to hold on to his things for about 3 minutes was worth it. I had a full basket of weeks of groceries. Cashier smiled and nodded to approve when I was paying. Ignoring the fact that this happened recently and COVID is a thing, personal space is very much a thing. If I'm at the grocery store and I'm in the checkout section and somebody is all up right next to me with their groceries and stuff, I would be pretty upset too. Back up a little bit, give somebody a foot of space, and if there's not a whole lot of space on the belt, just wait a minute. Make the whole process easier and more comfortable for everybody. And our final story of the day is by ESR95TKD. Want me to summarize all my vacation reads? Are you sure? This happened during my senior year 7 years ago. My school had signed up for the IB program, so all of our classes were a single plan from junior to senior year, which included teachers. So comes in first day of my senior year, my class had a party from which we stayed awake all the way from Saturday to the first day of class. Some even got drunk. Well, comes in my first class of the year, literature, and my teacher comes and sees us dead tired, so he plans to have some fun at our expense. Sadly, by assigned seats, I was just in front of his desk and fell asleep. Now the thing is that I am a bookworm, and I was among the largest readers of my class, but my teachers weren't aware of it because of the wonders of technology, the Kindle. My teacher saw me sleeping and guessed I was among the guys who had drank alcohol the day before, but managed to slip by the directors and teachers that checked on us, so he proceeds to ask, "Well, Mr. R," he called us by last name specially when he was being sarcastic, "since you are having the luxury to fall asleep in class, I guess you at least finished to read last year's assignments? I hope you can give us a summary of everything you read during vacation now." Now, my lazy half-asleep butt only heard the second sentence, so to jog my memory, I take out my Kindle, check the history real fast, and proceeded with a 2-hour summary of the 3 books we were supposed to read during the current year, the book that was for vacation, The Kingkiller Chronicles, Game of Thrones, and last but not least, Aragon and its saga. At this point, half my class was laughing because no one expected me to be able to answer, and the teacher is babbling because I made him waste the whole hour of his class. Weeks later, he told me he wasn't even mad, just surprised on his own bad luck. He took a gamble that you didn't do any of the work based off of you sleeping in class, but surprise, you were just tired and slept in the class, but you did everything. It's like the stock market. He saw your stock being low, he put money into it thinking it was going to be an absolute surefire hit, and then it just blew up badly in their face. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today, so if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which one and why in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe if you haven't, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss an upcoming video from the Storytime channel. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, so no matter what you did, thank you for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time right here.